Hi Jeanette.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah. How are you finding the Advent time?
Well, good actually.
Mm.
Yeah, so quite early in obviously, and thinking really around what this time is for waiting. I think waiting is quite a significant word for me at the moment. I'm not the most patient of people, so I like everything done yesterday. And I think there's something about the season of Advent that calls us to wait and to stop and to reflect. And obviously I recognise that's really difficult when the kind of whole of the world is gearing up, or most of the world is gearing up towards Christmas.
Yeah.
And that sense of busyness and getting everything prepared. And so there's something I think about the way in which waiting and preparation go together, and how we manage that, and of course I suppose nowadays with the idea of Advent kind of almost perhaps having disappeared, and people thinking that Christmas is now and then finishes on Christmas Day, without being sort of puritanical about it, but trying to hold that space as we go into December, into Advent, and really thinking about what it means to wait, and you know that those kind of traditional Advent hymns, "Come Thou Long Expected Jesus," and the way in which we're not very good at waiting, obviously, and I'm not very good at waiting, and thinking back in terms of those who were waiting for Jesus originally, around that idea of waiting for such a long time, and of course we are still waiting and not knowing when the next coming is. So sorry, that's a kind of quite a long answer, isn't it, to a simple question around that. That for me is around this whole idea of how do we wait? How do we wait expectantly, and how do we stop and pause so that the waiting isn't a busy waiting, and we end up not waiting because we busy ourselves with doing
filling the gaps. And have you had any thoughts about that, or is that still a question at the moment? How do we do that?
I think it's partly I'm still trying to work it out. I think I'm being deliberately trying to be more attentive to the slowing down and the stopping, and thinking about Sabbath and Sabbath rest, and trying to reimagine what doing nothing looks like. So an active doing nothing.
Yeah, an active resting and an active waiting that's not passive.
Yeah.
Is important to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, a deliberate I am choosing to do nothing, rather than thinking it's a waste of time and I ought to. And I think so many of us, aren't we? We're kind of conditioned that I ought to be. I think ought and should are such powerful negative words around that. We live a lot of our life thinking I ought to be doing this, or I ought to,
and not knowing how. I've only recently sort of, particularly during lockdown actually, was helpful. You know, how do you actively rest? Is it just waiting until you're exhausted and crashing out, or is it thinking, how am I going to get the most out of this rest day? What do I need to put in place to make that make it actually restful, and not just
crashing out
and doing nothing in an absent sort of way.
Yeah, but having us, actually that is it, isn't it? It's an active doing nothing, and actually being very conscious of that this is a commandment to observe the Sabbath, and of course I'm not just saying that's one day. It's kind of how we just find time in busy schedules, in the pattern of a week, how we find those times to rest, and that it is good refreshment, rather than that idea that I've just slightly recharged the battery in order that I can go again. And you know, a bit like when your phone's on that last sort of, it comes up with the 20, what is it, you've got 20%.
Switch off for a few seconds and then use it on again.
And the phone talks about, doesn't it, about having that, you know, you're down to 20% and you're going on low energy mode. And that perhaps there's a lot of us who run on that low energy mode all the time, and instead of switching the phone off and allowing it to recharge properly and then be used again, is that we just have it either constantly plugged in or we are working on that 20% low energy mode all the time. So I think this Advent I'm trying to practice that sense of actually the proper switching off and the resting and the not always easy, but
having the intention is a good start.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah, to sort of at least be thinking, how could I start to sort of implement this and at least be aware of it. Is a good start. And it's
often, isn't it? It's undoing the learnt behaviours and the bad habits.
The sort of habitual, default. And I think with during sort of the pandemic and the lockdown, we've all sort of reverted to type, haven't we? Of being quite reactive and responsive in ways that probably are fairly subconscious. Our sort of natural tendency. So like undoing that is, needs a bit of intentionality, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's probably always around the whole intentionality. That's the word, isn't it? Intentionally being inactive.
Yeah, and permission to do that.
Permission to do that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Well, all the best.
Thank you. I shall keep practicing.
A restful Advent.
Thank you.
Let's see how we get on.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thanks.